It's time for another installment of The Basics, and I'm taking you back to the X-Files CCG for this show, and I want to talk about tokens and what you can use for tokens, and why there are tokens. So, before I say the word tokens 4 more times, let's get right into this so I can start showing you what I'm talking about. Now, in the X-Files CCG, there are these things called tokens, which you use on your agents when they're in the hospital and things like that. And in the game, you are presented with a sheet of tokens that you punch out and use, but you don't necessarily have to use these tokens if you don't want to. I've never used mine. I prefer using other things. And aside from the tokens you're given with the game, especially if you have the 2-player introductory set where you get the tokens and a play mat and a little folder to put everything in, the 2 things that I would recommend most for tokens are multi-sided dice. I've mentioned these in other shows, previous episodes. They come in handy with CCGs on so many different levels, and they come in handy again in the X-Files card game by using them for tokens. Because if you're using a 10-sided or a 12-sided or a 20-sided die, you can count down from the number of tokens you need and go from there, or go as high or as low as what is deemed necessary when your agents are in the hospital. So if you don't already have a set of dice, you should get some. They are amazing to use in CCGs, especially here. The other thing you can use if you don't want to use the sheet is 5-cent pieces. Now, before anybody says anything, yes, I'm Canadian and this show is made in Canada. So these are Canadian nickels. Yes, they are real money. They work very well as tokens. I either use these or I use 10 cents, which is dimes. And I have a plethora of both in a little jar as overflow. So they do make the perfect counters. You can use pennies, but pennies are getting increasingly more hard to find, especially in Canada. They're gone now. And dimes and nickels show up better. And they're shiny. Ooh. So those are the 2 other things I would recommend, other than the game tokens, to be used as tokens. In a pinch, there are a few other things you can use. I have a bin full of electrical wire connectors, the twist ones. I've used those once in a game of Magic the Gathering as counters, but you can use them as tokens. You can use pins, even paper clips if you have an abundance of paper clips, but if you're not going to use the sheet of tokens, you can never go wrong with dice or small change. Whether or not you're playing the X-Files CCG or another CCG, you should always have a small bag or a small container with you that contains something that can be used as a token or a counter. Because, like I said, they do come in handy in CCG play, especially the dice and the small change. So if you've got them, get a little container, put them in one of your card boxes and take them with you at all times. That's all for today. Have a great day, everybody.